Hey, it's JC1424 once again with another album review, and today we're going to be talking about the new album Circles from rap rock artist P.O.D, otherwise known as Payable on Death, as opposed to Payable on Delivery. This is supposed to be like a Christian rock, Christian rap rock project, but some of the songs on this album actually make me question that, but we're not going to talk about that anyhow. So one thing I want to mention is that I've only known these guys a little bit throughout the years. I knew them for two hit songs, Youth of the Nation in like late 90s, early 2000s. And then about 10 years ago, they had one song that went really big, and that was Boom. It was a big old wrestling anthem kind of theme song, you know what I'm trying to say. And then there was one more that was in a NASCAR game, NASCAR 09 soundtrack, and it was titled Condescending. I'm pretty sure a lot of my fans in particular might remember that one. But aside from that, all I can say is that they were part of the new metal movement, and then once that ended, they were just a rap metal band, rap rock. I don't know about metal, but yes, certainly something worth looking into if they're trying to keep alive this genre, because they really haven't changed that much, but they do experiment a little bit on this album. So, let's get to it. The album starts off with the lead single, Rockin' with the Best. It's kind of a weird way to start off an album, but it actually was a really great lead single. I was slightly impressed whenever it came out, just because most lead singles in the rock scene in 2018 are just kind of sailing it in, just trying to be catchy, and that's about it. But this was a good promotional choice. It's got this intimidating theme to it that I like. It's a crazy party jam. Starts off with this badass driving bass, and whenever the guitar comes in for that chorus, it just amps everything up. It's so freaking noisy, and it just, golly, I just could bang my head and just rock out. It's almost too noisy, but I really don't want to start complaining about that. And well, aside from that, all I can really mention is that it is the shortest track on the album, but I gotta tell you, it really does get it going.
Don't mean to be so cocky, but everybody and their mommy know who co-rocks the party. Who rocks the party that rocks the party? I rock the party that rocks the party.
Track 2 is Always Southern California. This is a song about being out on tour and missing home. I feel like I've heard a bunch of songs like this, but this one in particular, all that really gets my attention is the hook. It's kind of nice, but at the same time, it's nothing lyrically intriguing or vocally mesmerizing. But at the same time, instrumentally, the song does pull itself off. It's got a heavy guitar to it. It's not so much energetic, but it is a bit pretty in some places, for lack of a better word. And then the drums and cymbals on the song are actually quite decorative, which is something I can say about a good half of this album. If you're paying attention to the percussion, it's actually pretty cool.
It's always Southern California in my head, where summer never ends, summer never ends.
The third song on this album is the title track, Circles, and this one is coming from the perspective of someone who's got a friend or just someone who's close to them that has a never-ending cycle of drugs just to drive themselves numb. Now, obviously we've heard many songs like this, but how does this one fare on the idea? It goes back and forth on these calm and beautiful bells to this slightly progressive chorus, given the fact that it's got this absolutely awesome breakdown towards the end. At the same time, in the verses, I don't like how it's got this cute melody being played by the guitar. I don't feel like it's as emotional as the rest of the song is. It starts out, it's like, wow, this one's going to have some actual emotion to it, and it's the title track, so it's got to be the opus of the album. But this guitar melody just doesn't fit in at all, in my opinion. But at least it really closes well with lots of anthemic energy. Track 4 is Panic Attack, and this one is such an edgy flat-billed hat copycat version of Boom, at least in my opinion. But that does not mean that I cannot rock out to the song. Man, I could rock out so hard to this song we were driving off the roadway. Not really, but this one has a really sweet guitar, in my opinion, to it. Really jazzy sound, and then it gets to that chorus, just comes crashing in with some really powerful drums. And the only thing that really steers me away from this one is the fact that it's got this lyrical concept that comes off kind of silly. I mean, I get the point, but it's just weird. Like, what am I listening to? The fifth song on this album is On the Radio, and whenever they say on the radio, they really do mean a song that starts off with a Foo Fighters-esque sounding guitar riff, at least in my opinion. You tell me. Like, that's Foo Fighters. That, like, really, come on. This is a song where they're talking about how they used to have this single that used to be on the radio, and now that like the album's over with and everything, they don't play on the radio anymore. And they're just looking back on the days whenever they were just a garage band and remembering whenever they just started out and how they went from being nobodies to just celebrities just within like 2 years or something. We all know what they're talking about here. Now, it could be more likable in my opinion, but I feel like they're trying way too hard to be dated and outdated simultaneously. So what I'm trying to say is this song is very well played. It's sung oddly. It's got like millennial whoops in there and whatever. And then it's like whenever I say it's well played, it's got that guitar riff that just makes me think of like radio rock music from whenever they started. And now we arrive at the halfway point on the album with track 6, Fly Away. This is where everything starts going downhill for the next 3 or 4 tracks. In my opinion, it does. This is a very tropical song about finding your happy place and being at peace with yourself, or maybe you're in a relationship and, just being at peace with your significant other. And how does this song start off? Na 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 na. This fucking song, it starts off every single freaking time, and it just irritates the crap out of me. But as it gets going, I start to like it a little bit more and more. You get to the chorus, and it's got the guitar, a really, really freaking catchy chorus. But this song feels like it's trying to be 311 and Imagine Dragons at the same time. It's got the guitar, and it's tropical, but it's also adding some trap elements, and it barely works. It's so freaking sugar sweet, and I find this song bearable at best.
So take me away, where everything is okay, and tell me where I can go, where only love is what we know.
Coming in at track 7, we've got Listening for the Silence, an octane-fueled follow-up single purely written on Paranoia. This is a song that easily takes its place as my favorite song on the entire album just because of some really rad vocal harmonies, and the guitars here are just haunting, but then they become energetic as you get to that chorus. And then the drums, they are ever so intense throughout the entire song. Lyrically, this song does stick to the point. It's nothing too eccentric, it's rather basic, but I can feel the anger with the way they're being sung.
I swear I can hear it so clear, even though it's loud inside my head. Silent.
Track 8 is a rock ballad titled Dreaming. This song is supposed to say stuff like, I'm scared, and what if the world gets lost in itself? It's just an apocalyptic idea of some sort, but in all reality it comes off as wimpy in terms of expression. It's only half as emotionally appealing in comparison to something like Youth of the Nation, in my opinion. This song, it does get loud in the chorus, and as you go through the verses it's really quiet, but just because something is loud doesn't make it powerful, if you know what I'm trying to say. Track number 9 is Domino. I ate pizza before starting to record this album review. But anyways, this song feels like it could easily not be boring, but instead it's got this artsy guitar that I like, but yet it's played in a bluesy mood that does not at all match the purpose of the song. This song comes from somebody who feels invincible or otherwise capable of taking the whole world down with them if they're going down. And then it's got this chorus, which is really repetitive and dorky. And it's just like the song is going for 2 different approaches at the same time, and it just doesn't add up for me.
In the game when the bones are stacked, drawing the blank with a mental collapse, just wait. Things don't always go my way.
With just a couple more songs to go, we head into track 10, Soundboy Killa. This song takes the same theme that the first song on the album did, Rockin with the Best, the lead single. And this one just absolutely starts off fantastic in my opinion. The way that the guitars and the drums, they just come crawling in with one hell of a riff. And it really pulls off the angsty aesthetic in my opinion. At the same time, the lyrics here, they go for this street talk thing that really is not going to cut it in 2018, because this feels like it was written in the late 90s or the early 2000s, but it's meant to be released now, of course. And it sounds a lot like Rage Against the Machine, which, don't get me wrong, is awesome, but it just doesn't fit. Like, they feel like they're trying to do it for now, like it's actually happening now. And if it was done back then it would work, but not now. This album closes off on a more progressive note than any other song did on this entire album. Track 11 is Home. This song builds to a high level of energy with the guitars, and the bass here, it's mysterious at first, but then it gets aggressive whenever it gets to the chorus. The drums have a great selection and variety, and while I have slight interest in the verses with what they're saying, what really catches my attention is the chorus itself. While it's awfully cheap, where I want to go home, I don't belong here. The vocal passion is just insane with the way he just screams home. I mean, it might not be perfectly in tune with the guitars, but it's there and it works. And at the same time, the guitar chords, they are just fucking awesome. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch and listen to me talk in depth about every song on this album individually. I really appreciate it. And my final score for the new album Circles by P.O.D, released on November 16th, 2018, is an 82%. I honestly feel like they're keeping the rap rock scene alive just a little bit longer with this album, because not everything on here was completely uninteresting, and as a matter of fact, there were some occasionally fun moments here. There were only like 2 songs that I would consider keepers, and it's only worth like 2 listens for me in my opinion, though I had to listen to it like 6 times because I'm the reviewer and I have to collect my thoughts and everything. I mean, if you're into rock music whatsoever, then go ahead and give it a listen or 2. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy something here. Now, those might remember that my previous album review was Evolution by Disturbed, and it got an 81%. And this is not far off from that. But since then, I've grown tired of a few songs, and even whenever I listened to it back then, I knew that nothing would really grow on me. So since then, it's kind of fallen to like a 79 or a 78%. And with this one, I'm feeling more confident on my opinion strictly with every song. So it's going to be a solid 82% compared to that one. But see you next time. That's that, and album review over.
I just wanna go home.